We are at the mercy of good luck, nothing else.
There are thousands of satellites in orbit. Many contain small nuclear reactors. When one of these nuclear-powered satellites falls back to Earth, it is like a silent H-bomb, depositing radioactive dust into the atmosphere. Just 1 pound of plutonium dust deposited into the Earth's atmosphere would kill all living creatures and plant life on the face of the planet. The US government presently has nearly 50 pounds of plutonium orbiting planet Earth in a range of military satellites.
But also we know today that there are 34 nuclear reactor cores orbiting the Earth below, launched there by the United States and the former Soviet Union all the way back to the early 60s when the space program began. These nuclear reactor cores are powering military satellites orbiting the planet. But several of them have fallen back to Earth, including a terrible accident in 1964 of a U.S. military satellite with 2 pounds of plutonium on board. It was called SNAP 9A. It burned up on re-entry, spreading the plutonium globally to be ingested by the people of the Earth into our lungs and to be passed on through our reproductive organs for generations after generations to come. One of the founders of uranium, Dr. John Goffman at Lawrence Livermore Labs in California, studied that particular accident and believes it's one of the major contributors to the increased cancers around the Earth today. So it's not just some theoretical possibility that there might be an accident on launch that could cause contamination. The sheer processing and fabrication of these space devices is killing people already. But if we learned anything from the Challenger and Columbia shuttle accidents, it's that space technology can and does fail. And as we all witnessed on television, that wide debris field as the Columbia burned up on re-entry, this should be a warning to us that launching nuclear power in space could contaminate massive, massive parts of this country or another country on this Earth.
And you take a look at the plans they have, it's mind-boggling. I mean, they are trying to put in motion plans which, in effect, could allow some command post in Colorado Springs, in Colorado mountains, to instantaneously attack any part of the world without warning from space platforms with either nuclear or other high destructive weapons.
And so what we are now witnessing is that NASA and the Department of Energy and the Pentagon are working together to move nuclear power into space.
The chances of something going wrong just by accident are quite high. I mean, these are complicated computerized systems.
In the environmental impact statement for the Cassini mission carrying 72 pounds of plutonium, NASA admitted that if there was a launch explosion and there was a release of the plutonium, that the winds would carry it for about a 60-mile radius, all the way from the Space Center out to Orlando on the west, north to Daytona Beach, and south to Vero Beach, Florida. A 60-mile contamination belt, if you will. And NASA said that they would have to go in and remove all the people. Then they would have to go in and remove all the buildings. Then they'd have to go in and remove all the animals. Can you imagine how they would do that? Then they would have to remove all the vegetation and ultimately remove the top half-inch of soil, because everything would be radioactively contaminated for thousands of years. They would have essentially created a nuclear wasteland. And so that's why this nuclear systems initiative is so dangerous, because they're now contemplating a dramatic expansion dramatic escalation of the numbers of launches. It's like playing Russian roulette, putting a bullet in the chamber and pulling the trigger. Eventually, one of them is going to go off.